Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I want to talk about on-demand liquidity and its current adoption and utilization. So since the start of my XRP utility series in relation to ISO 20022 going live in November, people have constantly and frequently asked me, when do I think XRP is going to be utilized? If that is the question, when do I think it's going to be utilized? The answer is it is already being utilized in various cross-border corridors already via on-demand liquidity. However, I don't think that is the real question people are trying to ask me when they ask me when is XRP going to be utilized. But that is the answer to that question nonetheless, that it is already being utilized already. And today I'm going to talk about its current adoption and utilization via ODL. So before I talk about on-demand liquidity, let's first explain what liquidity actually is. Liquidity is when an asset can be instantly traded or exchanged without drastically affecting the market price of the asset. So a very liquid asset can be sold quickly, being absorbed by the market at its market price without causing the market price to fall. And the opposite applies to an asset that has poor liquidity. So an asset that has poor liquidity, it would take longer to sell or may not sell at all, and the market price of the asset can be drastically affected when trying to sell an asset with poor liquidity. So as you can see, liquidity is very important when you want to make an instant trade or an instant exchange, and you don't want the price of the asset to be affected negatively by the trade. And this only happens when there is poor liquidity, whereas a asset that has rich liquidity would have a smooth trade and it would be very easy to buy and sell without affecting the market price of the asset. So what is on-demand liquidity? So ODL, on-demand liquidity, is a service owned by Ripple that is included in the RippleNet suite of tools for banks to benefit from. ODL is the only service within RippleNet that leverages the cryptocurrency XRP for liquidity purposes during cross-border payments between financial institutions. So XRP is a native token to the decentralized XRP ledger and acts as a neutral bridge liquidity token for the XRP ledger. So by using on-demand liquidity, which leverages XRP for payments, it eliminates the need for financial institutions to have to pre-fund their destination accounts with liquidity prior to the transaction occurring. So ODL and XRP basically eliminates pre-funding by financial institutions, and it enables financial institutions to actually get their liquidity or obtain their liquidity from using or leveraging XRP. And that is what on-demand liquidity is, where you have liquidity on demand, basically. So some of the key benefits of on-demand liquidity: no pre-funding is required by financial institutions. And this is from the Ripple website. You get real-time settlement. Settlement happens in real time, so it's instantaneous settlement. You have access to global markets, and you have 365 days a year uptime availability. So where does liquidity come from for ODL? Liquidity sourced by Ripple's on-demand liquidity comes from their Liquidity Hub that they have built. So the Liquidity Hub basically aggregates liquidity from various sources so that it can easily be tapped into by financial institutions for liquidity on demand. Now, these sources include exchanges, over-the-counter desks, and market makers. So the Liquidity Hub has benefits for enterprises and financial institutions and is built with the focus of catering to their needs and solving their liquidity problems. So it's built with thinking about enterprises and thinking about financial institutions in mind when building this Liquidity Hub, and helping solve the problems that these financial institutions have and these enterprises have when it comes to liquidity, and also their need for liquidity as well. So this is what Ripple did when they built Liquidity Hub. They were targeting a certain clientele, and that clientele is not retail, but it's more corporate and financial institutions like banks and so on. So the benefits of the Liquidity Hub. With the Liquidity Hub, it gives you optimized crypto liquidity. So access aggregated liquidity pools, including exchanges and OTC desks, to get optimized pricing. And these are for the enterprises and financial institutions that are using the Liquidity Hub. So you have extensive global payouts, connect to a global network of last mile payout rails, streamline digital asset management, leverage an enterprise level dashboard for managing, trading, and reporting, expanded access to capital, remove the need to hold pre-funded capital positions with multiple liquidity venues. And that's how it works today in the financial system, where liquidity is pre-funded beforehand in the destination accounts, whereas with on-demand liquidity or tapping into Ripple's Liquidity Hub, it removes the need for financial institutions to have pre-funded or to hold pre-funded capital positions. So it basically frees up liquidity that's in these pre-funded accounts. So how Ripple Liquidity Hub works. So the Liquidity Hub is a turnkey liquidity and global payout platform built specifically for enterprise needs. It supports a variety of digital assets and connects organizations to a rich set of liquidity venues to source optimized pricing via smart order algorithms. So when you're tapping into the Liquidity Hub, as it aggregates liquidity from various sources, it also helps these organizations tap into these liquidity venues, and it helps provide them with optimized pricing, and it's all done via smart order algorithms. So it's all automated via these smart order algorithms, and it's literally designed to benefit these financial institutions and enterprises to help them get and source crypto, especially with the Liquidity Hub. At the moment, they can source it via the Liquidity Hub, and it comes from market makers, exchanges, OTC desks, and they can source these digital assets at a very good price. And all of this is done via smart order algorithms in an automated manner. And for now, the Liquidity Hub is digital assets, but it's not just limited to digital assets. It could be eventually all forms of value that is tokenized. So Ripple's Liquidity Hub was built for financial institutions and enterprises to be able to access deep liquidity within markets and to easily and efficiently source and exchange digital assets from the broader crypto market. The Liquidity Hub enables this by leveraging smart order routing to source digital assets at optimized prices from market makers, exchanges, and OTC desks, over-the-counter desks. Now, enterprises and financial institutions will use Ripple's Liquidity Hub to easily and seamlessly provide their end customers, their clients, with the ability to buy, sell, and hold digital assets at the best possible prices across a range of venues. So a streamlined API can easily integrate enterprises and financial institutions to the Ripple Liquidity Hub, eliminating pre-funding requirement for them so that they can free up working capital. RippleNet uses the same crypto sourcing technology that is used for the Ripple Liquidity Hub to also support their on-demand liquidity service. So the same technology that they use for their Ripple Liquidity Hub in order for them to source liquidity for enterprises and financial institutions is also the same technology that they are using to support their on-demand liquidity service, ODL, as well. So let's talk about on-demand liquidity in Brazil and APAC and how its growth in the APAC region has continued. So in the Q3 2022 XRP market report document, there is a section that talks about the growth of Ripple's on-demand liquidity product. And it mentions that Ripple is entering new markets with its ODL for use cases beyond just individual payments to bulk and treasury payments. And that Ripple has partnered with Travelex Bank in Brazil to launch on-demand liquidity between Brazil and Mexico. So a single corridor between Brazil and Mexico, Travelex is leveraging or using on-demand liquidity between that corridor. This will enable Travelex Bank to offer their customers more affordable cross-border payments, eliminating the need for pre-funded liquidity in destination accounts and offering near instant settlement, providing access to liquidity 24/7, 365 days a year. Now, during this period, Q3 2022, other new and existing customers have also announced their use of on-demand liquidity, such as FOMOPay and iRemit. Now, FOMOPay is a Singapore-based institutional digital payment solution provider, and iRemit is a large non-bank remittance service provider in the Philippines. So I'm going to talk about some companies that are currently benefiting from ODL or that have partnered with Ripple to use ODL, and these are Travelex. It's a foreign exchange and remittance and international money transfer. That's what it does. We have FOMOPay, and FOMOPay is a digital payment solutions for merchant, retailers, corporate, and financial institutions. iRemit is basically a remittance service provider for Filipinos abroad. Novarti is a leading digital payment company that makes payments fast, simple, and secure. FlashFX makes online money transfers from Australia to anywhere in the world secure, simple, and fast, and it basically runs on RippleNet. Trangolo enables secure and seamless cross-border payments to thousands of banks, cards, wallets, cash, and mobile operators globally. SBI Remit is a secure and one of the safest ways to send your money to India from United States, United Kingdom, and Middle East countries. We have People. Now, People's innovative blockchain-based technology platform enables you to manage your money and use all the essential financial services directly from your mobile phone. And People focuses on the Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia. We have Azimo. Now, Azimo was a remittance service headquartered in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Azimo offered money transfers to 190 receiving countries in over 80 different currencies. However, at the moment, it's no longer operating as it's been taken over or acquired by another company. So I'm not sure they are still partnered with XRP for ODL utility anymore. Then we have Volante. Now, Volante is a global financial technology company that provides domestic and cross-border payment solutions for businesses and financial institutions. Now, this list is not an extensive list. It's just some of the companies that are benefiting from ODL or that have partnered with Ripple. So why is XRP still at cents? So let's talk about that, because this question must have run through your mind as it has run through mine, because when you see articles that this company is using ODL, this company has partnered with Ripple and they're using ODL, the question may go through your mind is, why is XRP still at cents if all these companies are using ODL? So if ODL is being utilized by various companies, basically, why is XRP still at cents? So here is my take on it. So if you look at the list of ODL companies that I just mentioned that are using ODL or have partnered with Ripple, none of them are central banks which process high-value wholesale payments via an RTGS system. All those companies that I mentioned, they are mostly just retail-based payment service providers. Now, I'm not undermining any of them as they are solid partnerships, and you need to start somewhere when onboarding clients to use your product and services, which is what Ripple is doing. However, when you look at how they are using ODL, some of them are just using ODL for a single corridor, like Travelex, and not their whole business, for example. Others may have ODL as an option to use for their clients, like Volante. Volante has a variety of products and services and a variety of methods to facilitate cross-border payments, and one of their options is they are partnered with Ripple. So I'm assuming that means they can tap into ODL, and that's one of their payment solutions, but it's not their sole payment solution for clients to use. So it's one of their options. And also some on that list of companies that are using ODL may just be using ODL for their whole system, but because they deal in retail payments mostly with strict corridors, very strict, narrow, specific corridors, it's not really going to be significant enough to make a dent in the demand for XRP to skyrocket the price. And which company was that? I think it was Flash FX that was running on RippleNet, and that's just an example of a company that deals mostly in retail payments and probably has a very strict corridor, and the demand coming from that company is not significant enough to make a dent in the price of XRP. So let's look at some examples of how much money these payment service providers that mostly deal in retail payments and small businesses, how much money they process compared to a central bank RTGS system like Target, for example. So here we have iRemitX.com, and it's trusted by 2 million customers, 14 offices in 8 countries, and it processes about 2 billion a year in volume. Here we have Novartis in 58 countries active, and their accomplishment is that 2.3 billion plus in value of transactions are processed annually. Here we have Tranglo, and 11.81 billion is processed worldwide. And then we have Volante, and Volante says that their solutions for payments and financial messaging automation are mission critical. They power some of the world's largest banks, market infrastructures, exchanges, clearinghouses, and card networks. Trillions of dollars move through our systems on a daily basis. For just one of our clients, we process over 800 million transactions a day. Everything we offer is available on premises or in the cloud. Now, when they say trillions of dollars move through our systems on a daily basis, because like I've said, Volante has a variety of products and payment solutions. Using Ripple is just one of their solutions. So trillions of dollars is not necessarily passing through Ripple, ODL, and that's clearly obvious because look at the price of XRP today. Does it look like it has trillions of dollars passing through it? No, it doesn't. So even though trillions of dollars is passing through Volante, it does not necessarily mean that it's passing through ODL. A small percentage of those trillions of dollars could be passing through ODL by clients that are using ODL through Volante, if there are any that are doing so via cross-border payments. Because like I said, it has a variety of options, Volante does, for cross-border payments. Now here we have Target 2, and Target 2 is the RTGS system for the Central Bank of Europe. So it's their high value payment system, and the total value of Target 2 turnover in 2015 amounted to 469.8 trillion. Now remember, this is 2015, we're in 2022, and if in 2015 they did a yearly turnover of 469.8 trillion, you can bet that today they're turning over much more than that. But just look at this amount of money compared to the other payment processors that we just spoke about, like Tranglo, Novartis, iRemit. None of them was even this close to this sort of value, 469.8 trillion. And here we have a document called Target 2, a single Europe for individual payments. And in that document, it talks about Target 2 is Europe's most important payment system, processing a daily average of around 340,000 payments, worth roughly 1.7 trillion a day. Imagine it processes 1.7 trillion, processing a daily average of 340,000 payments worth roughly 1.7 trillion per day. Now 1.7 trillion, I think this is after 2015, so this is around 2018, I think this document was published. But 1.7 trillion a day, times that by 365, it was something like 600 plus trillion they are probably doing on average a year, Target 2. So as you can see, this sort of numbers is astronomical. And also, as you can see, what these payment service providers are processing with ODL is peanuts compared to what a potential central bank RTGS system would process via ODL. This is why I can only come to one conclusion when I see ODL being adopted or partially adopted by payment service providers that are mostly handling retail payments for specific corridors, and the price of XRP still not drastically appreciating in value, is that the demand from them is not enough to apply continuous pressure on the available supply of XRP on the market. Forget about all these fancy equations and numbers trying to calculate price. In the end, it all falls down to supply and demand for XRP to appreciate in value. Basic economics. The fact that ODL is being used by some companies to process payments and the price of XRP is still low indicates that the demand is clearly not impactful enough to apply pressure on the available supply of XRP in the market. And this is why the price has not increased yet from current ODL utility, because adoption of ODL is still low and gradually growing, because we are still so early, in my opinion. This is why people want to see ODL adopted by central banks, wholesale, high-value payment systems, i.e. their RTGS systems. And I myself, I want to see this happen as well. And this is why people are hoping when ISO 20022 goes live in the Eurozone, the target RTGS system will be using ODL, and SWIFT will be using ODL, and so on. Because we want to see the price of XRP skyrocket from the continuous high pressure demand, high value payment systems will have on the available supply of XRP, causing the price to appreciate. I mean, when you see Target processing annually or daily $1.7 trillion in value, imagine that sort of money being pushed through the XRP ledger daily, and what sort of impact it would have on the price of XRP. So when people ask me, when is XRP going to be utilized? The answer is, it already is. Technically speaking, XRP is already being utilized by ODL, by payment service providers. But what they are really asking me is, when is XRP going to be utilized by RTGS systems worldwide? And the answer to that is, frankly, I don't know. But I'm certain it is not happening in November, and I'm certain it's not happening in March when ISO 20022 goes live in the Eurozone or by SWIFT. Now, just because I don't believe it is happening as soon as November 2022 or March 2023, I still think it is going to happen in the future, God willing. And I think ODL will not just be used for all the RTGS systems worldwide or the payment service providers for cross-border CBDC payments, but ODL will also be used for all forms of tokenized value ranging from crypto, stocks, precious metals, derivatives, debt, bonds, real estate, commodities, and so on. Consider the likelihood that in the new digital financial system, all forms of value are likely going to be tokenized on DLT systems and would need to be easily tradable between each other and would need liquidity to do that. And this is why, in the end, when all is said and done, I think the future use case of ODL and Ripple Liquidity Hub will be to provide liquidity for all forms of tokenized value. And that is when the demand pressure for XRP would be continuous and high against the limited available supply. And this is when XRP would need to be at a high value for ODL to even function efficiently and effectively, God willing. And this is also when all the doubters and market cap advocates would cry in disbelief as they realize their mistakes, their foolish arguments, and how they missed out on an opportunity of a lifetime. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so as to not miss my next video.